Jai Shri Mataji, ci alziamo tutti insieme la Kundalini e ci diamo 7 bandha.
Good morning, everyone. We can raise our Kundalini and give ourselves bandhas.
Prendiamo qualche respiro profondo e portiamo la nostra attenzione nel Muladhara Chakra. Chiediamo a Shri Ganesha di risvegliare in noi tutte le sue qualità. Possiamo dire insieme Shri Ganesha Mantra e poi meditare su di lui per qualche minuto.
We can take a few deep breaths and put our attention on our Muladhara chakra, and so that we can ask him to awaken in ourselves his qualities, and so we can say Shri Ganesha mantra and meditate for a couple of minutes.
Tvameva sakshat Shri Ganesha sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Ora mettiamo l'attenzione nel nostro canale destro e chiediamo a Shri Mataji di risvegliare in noi Shri Hanumana. Shri Hanumana, in realtà sei tu a fare tutto, noi non facciamo nulla. Madre, in verità, io non faccio nulla. Possiamo dire Shri Hanumana Mantra e meditare qualche minuto su di lui.
Now we can put our attention on our right channel and ask to Shri Hanumana for his qualities and acknowledge that he's the doer. We don't do anything. Let's say Shri Hanumana Mantra and then after meditate for a couple of more minutes.
Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Hanumana Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Portiamo ora l'attenzione nel cuore destro e chiediamo a Shri Mataji di risvegliare in noi Shri Rama e le sue qualità. Chiediamo di risvegliare in noi il senso di responsabilità e di eliminare tutta la nostra aggressività. Possiamo dire il mantra Shri Rama e poi meditare per qualche minuto.
We can put our hand on our right heart and ask Shri Mataji to awaken in us Shri Rama and his qualities. Let's ask him to give us the sense of responsibility and to take all our anger away. Let's say Shri Sitarama Mantra and then meditate for a couple of more minutes.
Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Sitarama Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Ascoltiamo ora un estratto di un Shri Rama Puja.
Now we can listen to a part of a talk from Shrimadaji of Sri Rama Puja.
Now, the right heart is a very important thing. The right heart looks after the whole lungs, both the lungs, all the throat, the trachea, the nose, the inner part. The outer side is looked after, we can say the features are given by Shri Krishna. But the inner part of it is all done by Sri Rama. They are the same, but one acts as in the inner part, the another as the outer part. It gives you the ears. From the inner part, Sri Rama does, he gives you the eyes in the inner part of the eyes. Now, it's so important to have the inner side all right and the outer side. Is an example of Sri Rama. He never cared for the outer side or the outward looks of a person. Because he came before Sri Krishna, he tried to build up the inner side of a human being. So we can say, though he is on the right heart, he acts through your Hamsa Chakra and partly through your Vishuddhi Chakra in the inner side. Because Sri Krishna, in the inner side of it, is Sri Ram, is Sri Vishnu. So, when somebody is, say, not good looking according to the Western standard, according to me, the Western standards are rather funny. Because Western standards don't look like, neither like Krishna or Sri Rama. The person like Sri Rama was a very healthy, tall person with his hands up to the knees. Ajanubhav. He is the one who has Ajanubhav. And he was plump. Both of them were plump. They had to be plump people because they were, though they were born of the Agni, he was born of the Agni, but the water is the main element of Sri Vishnu. So they were all plump people. They were not thin like sticks, as today's modern ideas are, to be thin like sticks and like TB patients. But it doesn't mean all plump people are good. We always logically think that plump people are, if mother says so, then plump people are good. It's not the point. The inner side of it, I'm saying. The inner side of it is just the opposite. Inner side of it is absolutely beautiful and absolutely full of love, affection and warmth. A person who doesn't have these things is a sign of a person who is not a sadhuk, first of all. A person who is very loud, talks loudly, speaks loudly, laughs at wrong places, must be half mad, but cannot be a sadhuk. See, the softness of Sri Rama goes to the extremes where I call the sankocha, the formality, the formal. But it is in English language, formal is not the word, sankoch. He was once, when he was fighting Ravana, he was taking out with his arrow his 10 heads one after another. And if he took out one, then took out the second, the first one would come back. So because he had a kind of a blessing that nobody can kill him by hitting him on his head. So Lakshmana says, you know for definite that this Ravana cannot be killed by hitting on his head. So why don't you hit him in his heart? So he said, the reason is this, that just now in his heart is Mahalakshmi, the Sita. Sita is sitting in his heart. And how can I hit him on his heart? Because she's there, she might be hurt. So what's the use of hitting on the head, he said. He said, because once I start hitting him on the head fast, his attention will go there. As soon as his attention will go into his head, then I can hit him on his heart. See the sankoch. See the sankoch, the way he talked. Now we have, see now what's wrong with you? Why are you all the time smiling and like that? Why can't you keep quiet? What is there to smile about certain things where you don't have to smile? Keep quiet. Now, then what happened? That he was so kind once when a very ugly woman, Shurpanakha, came to entice him. And she said, she came to entice, she said that, Rama, why don't you marry me? I mean, to a person like Rama, who is Maryada Purushottama, to ask such a horrible questions. Somebody would have really beaten her up, if not anything else. So Sri Ram smiled. He said, Madam, I'm sorry, I have a wife and I believe in one wife, Eka Patni Vrat. So I'm sorry I can't marry you. But mischievously says, all right, my brother is there, his wife is left in Ayodhya, you can ask. So he went to her and he asked, she went to him and asked, Lakshmana, why don't you marry me? Because she had become very beautiful, she has transformed herself to a beautiful woman. She must have gone to some beauty parlor or something. But she made herself like that. And she was there. And he looked at her, so angry. He said, you the ugly, why do you want to ask such a question? He cut her nose. When he cut her nose, that was in Nasik, and that's why Nasika means the nose, and that's why you have been to Nasik. That's the place where he cut her nose. He was very angry. But Sri Rama did not. He said in a way that's very convincing that, see, I have a wife and I am a person who believes in my one wife. Now another character about him was that he was consistent. He was never inconsistent like Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna was a diplomat, and diplomacy is in being inconsistent. Sri Krishna's style was different. But in Sahaja Yoga, you can't carry on like Sri Rama. Sometimes you have to be like Parshurama also. Otherwise things don't work out. Now, when it went ahead with it in his character, which was so beautiful, that you find he was such a consistent person. Whatever he said, all the life he carried that. For example, he said, I'm the one who believes in one wife, Eka Patni Vrat. Now he had a very nice wife, no doubt, very beautiful wife, but she had gone to Ravana and he was left alone. When they wanted to start a kind of a yajna called as Rajasuya Yajna, which was meant to be the conquering the whole world. Then they asked him, you have to marry because you have to have your wife. They said, no, I can't marry because nobody could be like my wife and I can't marry. I can forego this kind of a yajna, but I can't marry again. So then they said, all right, there's only one thing you can do is to make a statue of Sita in gold. And you have to use her, that statue, as a wife representing. He said, that I will agree. He took away all his ornaments, everything, and made that statue, and he did this again. So whatever he said, he followed thoroughly in his dharma he was perfect. Another incident is that when Sita was lost, he never slept. He never slept on a bed, always on the Mother Earth. Never slept on a bed, always on the Mother Earth. The pain he had of his wife is very well described by all the poets of India. And when Sita left him ultimately, in a very mysterious way, she just disappeared in the Mother Earth, because Mother Earth had given her birth, so she disappeared into Mother Earth. Then Sri Rama became absolutely lost, and he jumped in the river Sharayu and disappeared in the water element from where he had come. Now this man had to give up his wife. In these contrasts you can see the wave rising and falling of a personality. The society in which he lived, the state which he ruled, had an objection for a wife who had lived with Ravana. And the public started talking about it. So as a good king, he just decided that his wife should be left forever. And then he sent her on a beautiful chariot with his prime minister and his brother Lakshmana, who took her down and left her, told her this is what has happened, and that Sri Rama has asked her to take you down to the ashram of Valmiki. As a result of that, she got very upset, and she said, she was Adi Shakti, so she didn't have to bother. She said, you just leave me here. Very self-respecting person. She didn't say, no, I'll come to him, or I'll sue him, I'll go in the courts, get all his money, how dare he throw me out. Nothing of the kind. That's the grace of a woman. Graciously, she said, all right, now you have listened to your brother, I'm your sister-in-law elder too. Now you obey me. And I tell you, as your sister-in-law, that you can now go, leave me here alone, and I don't want you to go any further with me to deport me with somebody. And she was pregnant. Here if it happens, of course, horrible things can happen. But in India, if such a thing happens, the wife will kill herself, or she won't be able to bear it. I think both things are just the same in escape. If there's no aggression, then there is recession. But she said, no, I have to give birth to these two children. I can look after myself. All right, graciously he's done it, I have nothing. And please tell him not to worry about me. And she told Sri Rama, Sri Lakshmana, that all right, you look after him. That's all I want. And she told the chief minister, the mantri, that you must look after the kingdom. See the dignity, see the balance, see the character, the personality of Sri Rama. He was called as Maryada Purushottama. And look at his wife. She was equal to him in every way. When she was kept by Ravana, Ravana was so frightened of her Shakti that he would not touch her. He used to frighten her. Say, I'll do this to you, the women of India, I'll do this to the women of the world, I'll do that kind of a horrible thing, I'll take another birth, I'll misbehave. She said, do what you like. You cannot touch me. He could not touch her hand. He was so frightened. And when Hanumana brought the ring of Sri Rama and presented to her and said that this is the ring of Sri Rama, She said, yes, I know. How is he? He said, all right. All inquiries she had about herself. So he said, Mother, I can take you on my back. I can easily take you. You come on my back and I'll take you. She said, no, I won't go with you. It's Sri Rama, who is a brave king. He should come himself, fight this Ravana, kill him, because he is evil. And then I will go with him with all the glory. She was not frightened of anything. For her, the important thing was that Ravana should be killed. He is evil and he should be killed by Rama. Such a great courage for a woman. Both sides, if you see, you'll be surprised that how a woman's character is such a powerful thing.
Recitiamo insieme i 3 grandi mantra.
We can now say the 3 great mantras.
Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Trigunatmika Kundalini Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Sahasrara Swamini Moksha Pradayini Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. 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 Possiamo alzarci la Kundalini e darci 7 bandha.
We can raise our Kundalini and do Bandhan.
Jai Shri Mataji e buona giornata a tutti.
Jai Shri Mataji and good day to everyone.